And Sports Buffet is back. We haven't had this popping off in a minute. Quiet Giant, Matt in the building. Corin, back as always. Haven't done this in a while, so I told you beforehand, we got a lot of new followers due to, obviously Kyle is just a man of YouTube. So when we went to Nashville and LA, a lot of people wanted to see behind the scene content and stuff like that. So they probably don't rock with my channel, but let's see if they do. You know, the real loyal ones will stick with Sports Buffet. They'll stick with the chats. They'll stick with all the stuff I do with Kyle. Those are the real ones. That being said, we are finally back. We haven't done a Sports Buffet in a hot minute, so I had to ask you what number it was. This is Sports Buffet number 12. And I got a new backdrop here. I was telling you before, I got booted out of my old studio, which was my guest room. We're moving my daughter into that room. She's getting a little bigger, so it looks like I'm an opening act for like a Broadway show or something like that. So the curtains may open up at any time, and then like the Jersey Boys will pop out or some shit like that.
I was gonna say it's like a little one of those like basement comedy shows.
Yeah, it's I don't like the red color. It's a little too weird for like a YouTube channel. I might get like a white sheet or a black sheet, because red makes it look like I'm trying to like present something and I'm trying to be funny, which I had no choice in that red blanket. Okay.
Like you should just come out of the sheet just dancing. Like, hey, like just an entertainer.
There's a guy on the side. His name is like Juan, and he pulls the curtain when I tell him, and there's just gonna be fucking the Rockettes are gonna pop out or something like that.
There's just two poles that's 8 feet long, so it just goes.
All right. So as you guys know, I always try to rock a different hat from my collection, something relevant to what's happening, my mood or whatnot. This week, I went California Angels. For all you young bucks out there, this was old school California Angels, before they were the Anaheim Angels, before they were the Los Angeles Angels. I'm rocking this because, as I successfully predicted weeks and weeks and weeks ago, I think I said that Trout and Bellinger were going to win MVP. So Mike Trout won AL MVP. Cody Bellinger won NL MVP. Both LA Cats. So shout out to both of them. But yeah, I think I said, because I'm not surprised that by any of these sports leagues anymore, that they would just give it to two LA people because it's better for marketing. It's better for like sales. It's better for fan engagement. They're two like good-looking guys. They speak well. They're whatever, you know. So I wasn't surprised by both selections. Did you care either way when you heard the announcements? And it sort of flew under the radar. No one's really talking about it that much.
Yeah, a lot of things that we'll get into probably are like overshadowing that now too.
Yeah,
but not surprising at all. Like on the field baseball, like those guys deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at Mike Trout, you see what is he trying to do? You see how he looks?
No, what's his vibe now?
Dude, it's insane. He looks like the situation. It's like,
no,
I guess you're not marketable.
Oh, like, what is he doing? Like, how did he, like, tattoos, a hair slicked back? Is he wearing like tight shirts?
He's got like a tight shirt on with a slick back like faux hawk. Like, I'm gonna try to get the picture.
Yeah. So now let me ask you, is this a one-time deal? Was it a Halloween costume? Was he caught off guard? Was he making a joke about Paul, like, you know, the situation? Or is this really his look? Because I've seen him before. I've seen him, you know, post-game, and he's just, like, got some regular shit on, and his hair looks fine.
Yeah, no, so...
But this makes me nervous.
The first thing, I remember... I don't know what week it was, but I think it was this year where he was at an Eagles game. He's an Eagles fan.
Yep.
And he looked ridiculous there. And I was like, all right, well, he's just like wearing sweats and a jersey. Like he's just trying to go to the game, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then this is the second time where he looks absurd. And it's like, if you try to promote him, he looks like almost like a UFC fighter from the tap out days. Like, what are you doing?
Maybe he's realized.
I need this picture. I really do.
He could be realizing that, because he's won one MVP award already, right?
Yeah.
So maybe he's at like the James Harden of last year MVP conversation, where it's like they don't want to give it to him again going forward. So he's just like I've won my second one. I'll probably have a good season next year, but there'll be a new breakout player that'll win the award. So let me just go berserk with how I dress and like this is my real self. Almost like how like Caitlyn Jenner came out and was like, I got to stop putting on for, MLB and all the fans and let me be true to who I am. And he is a Jersey cat. So like he could really be that dude. And like when he went to LA, he had his agent and advisors like, hey man, you got to wear like a little bit baggier pants and your shirts can't be that tight. Like the gel, you can't bring the tub. You got to just bring some low key, some pomade that's not greasy looking, and just, fly under the radar for a little bit, play beast baseball, win a couple MVP. Like once you win your first, go on your late night shows, look normal, have this perception that, you're not this Jersey Shore cat. Then he won the second one. He's gotten paid. He's living in LA comfortably now. He's like, I got to be true to who I am, man. It's GTL all day.
That's fair because this actually, I mean, you tell me. This is insane.
Okay, so the shirt doesn't bother me that much.
No, the shirt's not that bad, actually. It's whatever.
But the hair, it's a little peacocky, and I can't really clown because, my hair's probably exactly the same. But, like, he's got the means to get a stylist. He's got the means to have, a fashion coordinator. He's got people in his corner telling him, don't buy into that whole Jersey Shore mania look, like grow your hair out a little bit, do something different, try a nice part, that to me, yeah, that looks a little like, Jersey Shore boardwalk, like he's gonna, play whack-a-mole like 10 minutes after that interview there. Like he could have been he could, yeah, exactly. Like he's taking that call from a Gold's Gym on the beach. And he's going to pop out and then go, buy a hot. I'm being mad stereotypical right now.
Gatorade's CEO just looks at him and is like, oh, we can't put that in a commercial, man. Like, what does Bellinger look like? All right, we'll go with him.
Yeah, so now that brings me to Bellinger. And he's almost like the Mike Trout, pre-Mike Trout right now, Who's to say? And it could be, I don't know where he's from. Is he a California dude?
He's from Arizona.
Okay.
So pretty much, yeah, same shit.
I almost expect it worse from him in a couple of years because it's like, he hasn't lived in that Jersey Shore thing. So, like, when Jersey Shore first came out, yeah, we already knew the people from Long Island and Westchester and Jersey were, like, those type of people. Like, wearing the Armani Exchange shirts and the True Religions and the Ed Hardy hats and all that stuff. So, like, we gave them a pass and the benefit of the doubt of, like, those are who they are. Those are those type of people. I hope, and it was worse when Jersey Shore came out and you saw somebody from like, I don't know, random spot, Colorado, like trying to slick their hair back and wear some Ed Hardys. You were like, you had less like patience with them because you were like, nah, man, we know who does that shit. You're not allowed to do that stuff. So Trout, in the MVP conversation, I give him the benefit of the doubt because he is from Jersey, so he's been brought up in that culture. I don't want Bellinger to fall through that trap where, like, next year he starts, going crazy and his hair looks funky and tight shirts that he can't breathe in. Because you see that happen with a lot of dudes.
Yeah, they change up their style, yeah.
They change up their style like crazy.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's got to be something that looks natural. So I think Bellinger will be fine. Like, he just seems like just a chill dude that just.
You thought that about Trout, though.
I did.
It does surprise me, though.
I got that on my phone.
Yeah. It does surprise me when players like I don't know, is it 180? Yeah, 360 would be right back in the same spot as if they changed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it surprises me when like. Who did this? I feel like with Yao Ming when he first came over, he was like clean cut, super like, the Chinese ambassador, But then like as he started playing on the Houston Rockets and like playing with Tracy McGrady, playing with like Steve what the hell is Steve Francis, like Katino Mobley, Moochie Norris, he started like really embracing like the hip hop culture. And, like, he's got, like, famous quotes with T-Mac of, like, saying that, like, he was eating, like, fried chicken at his house and stuff like that. It's like, I give him a pass too because he sort of adapted to like a culture. But Westbrook, you see old photos of him when he was at UCLA and he's wearing like baggy pants, and now he wears like the tight stuff. So like it's always funny seeing like the players who are in the league for so long, like how the fashion has changed so much from when they first started. Is there anybody that like you could think of that like played for so long that like when they first came on the scene they were one type of player, and then when they left they were like, who is that dude?
Yeah, well, I feel like that's why I respect like T-Mac a little bit, because I think he just stayed with the huge ass suits his whole career.
Yeah.
But I think like, when you play long enough and you see like a whole era go by,
crazy.
And you started as a young dude and then you're the whole guy, like a guy like Paul Pierce, like when he entered the league, you were allowed to wear like jerseys and shit.
Yeah.
Walking. Remember that?
Yeah,
and
like
now it's
do-rags, like baggy pants.
Yeah, he was wearing like football jerseys every single time, like a different throwback.
Yep.
And last 10 years of his career, it's like, no, man, we wear a suit, we wear the, so change is good. It's just like, don't try to, like,
don't reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, don't make it a game off the court like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm always fascinated, like when I go to work, we use the internet a lot to communicate with like warehouses and stuff like that, and I talked to like some of these people that have been there for 40 years, and I was like, what did you guys do before like there was internet? They're like, oh, we used to fax stuff and phone call over to the warehouse, and I was like, that sounds crazy. And they're like, yeah, but we still got stuff done. So like imagine like a young guy like Trae Young talking to Vince Carter, like I don't even know what they do at the NBA level of like, flights and hotels and all this stuff, but like the stuff they do now must be so crazy different from like when Vince Carter started like 20 years ago, that like these guys are probably just blown away to hear stories of what they went through. So like it's cool to see those different dynamics. And I don't know how we got there from Mike Trout and Cody Bellinger, but
that's what we do.
but we're there.
We do, man.
That's what we do. So yeah. Shout out to both of them. I did call that. I don't even know if there was really another horse in the race that like really the guy who got injured, Yelich.
Yeah, that was the only thing.
But like, yeah, he got injured, and the argument that I made was like that he was in Milwaukee, and they're not going to give it to some small market dude again when he's injured. Why not give it to two LA guys? Because I just have conspiracies about every sports leagues that they're all rigged, and they're going to decide who they want to decide wins an award if it comes down to like a tiebreaker. Like, well, everybody at ESPN's like, oh, the analytics say this. The same thing with the NCAA. When you watch March Madness, like the selection tournament, and they do like the two blind teams, and you're like, oh, that team on the left should clearly get in, and there's a consensus that like, oh, Virginia Tech should be in the tournament. They had a harder like center schedule and all this stuff. But then they'll put like a random like Iona in or something like that, just because for whatever reason it probably makes for a more exciting game. That like even Joe Lenardi, who like gets his bracket picked like 100 out of 100, he's like, oh, I didn't see that one coming.
That's the only thing that gets me with sports, is that actually annoys me, because like when you get those teams that are typically awful and then they finally go on a run and they actually deserve to go in, and this is college football too.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, not so much anymore with the new playoff bracket, but yeah, I feel bad for the guys who are like, that those like even the 5th year seniors, the 4-year guys that are just like, they're not going to play basketball after this, but they just balled out all year, and it's like, oh no, the coach on the other team is like close with everyone on the board, and that's how that is.
Well, I mean, you look at it with right now, the whole conversation happening with Alabama. There's, in my opinion, teams that are like, whether or not they're better than them, they have a better record. They've had better wins. Alabama's in a situation that I wanted to bring up next. Their quarterback has just got like, he's out for the season. So like, but yet they're still 5 in the rankings. And it's like, it makes you think, is just like, what are they, like, Nick Saban is close to every board member, I'm sure. He's brought in so much money for the NCAA. It's Alabama, so their fan base is ridiculous. And it's just like, obviously the NCAA is going to want an Alabama at 5 over like a Minnesota because like there's way more money to be made with Alabama if they make the college football playoffs than like Minnesota. And yeah,
for that specific situation, I could see why Alabama should be in it because their strength of schedule is pretty crazy. They play monsters every week. And Minnesota did lose this week, so I don't think it'll be as controversial as maybe it would have been if you were talking about this 4 or 5 days ago. So I think it'll clear itself up, fortunately, but that's not the case every year.
So you don't buy into the whole like a team's undefeated thing because like it could be like a bullshit undefeated, like a Boise State or something like that's undefeated, but they're playing like Joe Schmo and whatever.
Yeah, wasn't it it was a Florida team a couple of years ago, UCF or something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was one of the Florida teams, but they didn't play anyone. I'm like, okay.
They had like the whole campaign to like play Alabama, and I think like Alabama tweeted at them or something. It was just like, we would smack you guys. Like, what are you, stupid?
They held their own parade and shit. I'm like, come on.
Oh my God.
No one's turning on ABC for that.
They like anointed themselves, or whatever that word is, like national champions, right? And everybody was just like,
yeah.
You guys
they had their own like champion parade. I kind of respect that. It's like, all
that's sort of gangster. I mean, like, I would turn on a random team sometime. Like, I still remember to this day when Boise State was in that game. Like that game, I forgot who they played. Do you remember who they played?
I don't know.
Oklahoma, I think maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And they had like they went for the 2-point conversion at the end, and they were just such big underdogs. And then the guy proposed to his girl after the game, and it was just like a crazy, exciting game. So like if a UFC or UCF, if a UCF did play like in Alabama, and it was a close game and exciting, like that draws in ratings too. So like the NCAA should take into consideration that maybe it would be exciting if they put a Minnesota in the college football playoff, because it's not what we see every single year where it's Clemson, whatever, Alabama, Ohio State, and whoever else is in there. You could not even play the season and just know who the 4 teams in the college football playoffs are mainly going to be.
Yeah, it's fairly predictable. But like that Boise State game, that took them also like 3 years of being absolutely great, and then they're like, "Yo, let's just give these guys a shot." It wasn't just one year where it's like, "Nah, that's a fluke." Second year, nah, you're undefeated. That's still a fluke. And then the third year, they're like, "All right,
fuck it, we can't do anything about this." Yeah.
And then the dude decides to like just take all the attention and propose in the end zone. It's like, man, were you focused on the game at all?
I know, right? What do you like?
A lot of pressure.
Playing with a diamond ring in your like in your
ankle sock, yeah. In your stirrup.
I do have one beef with one team that always makes it to the NCAA men's tournament. Gonzaga. They have to stop giving Gonzaga and St. Mary's or whatever, occasionally will get it, a number 1 seed. Those guys play garbage teams, and they're all white dudes, and they always get smacked. Like, they'll make it to the Sweet 16, but stop giving those guys a number 1 seed. It's just like, it just messes up when I have to select my bracket, because it's just like, I don't watch their games. They play at 11 o'clock at night, and then I look at the bracket. They're like 32-0, and I'm like, are they good this year? And then everybody's like, I got Gonzaga going final. And I'm like, but they lose every year.
They really do, and I feel like I pick them all the time to go Sweet 16.
That's what I'm saying, because it's like you look at, you don't watch their games, and then you look at like your sheet in front of you, and you're like, damn, 1 loss? That's pretty good.
No, I know, and it's like, man, they gotta have a guy just like Adam Morrison on that team. Morrison. All right, yeah, I'm picking him like every time.
Yeah, so if any committee members or anybody who works at the NCAA watches this podcast, please, for the life of this podcast, for the life of NCAA basketball, for the life of Gonzaga, like, you're doing them a disservice to make them 1 every year. Like, they're all excited, they're all jazzed up, but their coach is probably like, damn, man, I wish I was just like an 8 seed, so like we could lose in the Sweet 16 and it would be like a success and not like a freaking failure.
We're not that good.
we're not that good, and they never are that good. So until they have the Boise State track record where they win 3 seasons in a row and like win a bowl game, win a national championship, like I wouldn't be mad if Butler was a 1 seed, because if I saw Butler as a 1 seed on the thing, I'd be like, they're legit. They made it to the NCAA championship.
Yeah.
They proved that they were good. They had a smart coach. They had players that played in a system. But now when I see Gonzaga as 1, I'm just like, nah, man. Like, and I don't know how far they're going to lose. You know, like, I don't know when they're going to lose, but I know they're going to lose. So it just makes it harder for me. So some years it's like round of 32. Then other years I make it to the Elite 8. So it's just like it throws off my whole bracket.
Well, they got a good mascot too, don't they? Good team name.
What are they? The Bulldogs?
Bulldogs.
Mad generic. Like that's another thing. Like
Bulldogs always get past the first round.
I know. Like, but
so this is how I pick my bracket.
What are you, like a high school 11th grade girl that like is just like picking a brackets?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it's come to.
All right, so quickly I want to ask about the guy too. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name, but Alabama's quarterback. Dude, I feel like has been playing the last 3-4 weeks like legit beaten and broken, and it finally gotten to a point. It reminded me of like the Kevin Durant situation playing in the finals. Like you just knew something was bound to happen. You know, the guy played the first quarter, and then it came to like 30 seconds left in the second quarter and just freaking got demolished. Like popped in the face, broken hip, which is just like, you feel bad for him because he was such a high NFL prospect, and now it's in question, and now there's a lot of questions of, I think he should come back for another seasons. What was your take on, you know, like that whole situation?
Yeah, I felt real bad for him.
Hell yeah.
That could be career threatening.
Yeah, man.
They were up by like 30.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be his last series of snaps. So it's like, you know, you could always play that game in your head if you should have took him out earlier or not.
And Alabama has so many quarterbacks. It's like, let somebody else go. They're playing Mississippi State or whoever the hell they're playing.
Yeah, his brother ended up going in. His younger brother, who's the third string.
Jesus.
Who's got pretty much the same name, but just like one letter change. So, but like even when they interviewed Saban after the game, and Saban's a dick, you know, like
he's Belichick X.
Yeah. Cut from the same cloth, but you could see it in his face a little bit. He was trying to just be like, "Oh, we don't know," but he's like, "Seems serious." Yeah.
Did it seem like he was? Did it seem like he was? And I don't know if you could tell or not, but did it seem like he was mad at himself, more just mad that he was injured, or just being like a dick like how he is?
He was like somber a little bit, where he was like, yeah, it seems serious. Like, I don't know. And then he turned the switch on to typical Saban and was like,
next guy up.
But our guys did an excellent job, and I want to focus that on them. It's like,
you just ruined a kid's career, lost them all this money, but let's focus on the kids that, you know, aren't injured.
I know. Like, he thought about it for a split second and then was like, wait, this is not who I am.
He showed a little bit of compassion and was just like, because I mean, like, ultimately it's, at what point does he look at the guy and he's like, all right, he can't walk anymore, you know, like, you got to trust your other guys to let somebody else play. So, I mean, like, whether or not he trusts his medical team or the doctors or whatnot, like, it's just like, he wasn't even passing the eye test. And if I could tell on my TV from freaking multiple states away, you can't tell, and you see the guy every day.
I know. And that's what everyone was saying too, like the announcers and stuff. Like, well, he wasn't moving around great before then, even though he was doing well, but it's like staying in a pocket every time he had to run away. He didn't look great.
But like a coach has to take more heat and responsibility for that shit, man. And like I said, I didn't hear his post game conference and all that stuff, but like a lot of these guys don't take responsibility. And one thing I respect about Bob Myers when the whole Kevin Durant situation came out was like, he owned up to it. He said they wanted to win. You know, he was like crying. And it made, I listened to a podcast with him and Draymond Green. And he just seemed real likable because Draymond said something about Bob Myers, the Golden State Warriors president of basketball operations or whatever, or GM. and was just like, he can't not lie, which is almost a good and a bad trait. Because it's just like, I respect somebody like that, because it's like they're going to tell you how it is, and you're not going to get any bullshit from them. And you saw that with the Durant situation. He didn't come out and say, man, he passed all the tests, he looked good, it was just a freak thing. Because then I would just be like, this guy's lying to us.
Yeah.
He was like, we fucked up. Like,
that
he shouldn't have played.
One of the more refreshing things I've heard in sports in a while.
Yep.
When he came out and did that. And, like, I don't know, behind the scenes, Saban could be apologizing to him. I know I probably would. Like, I would just be like, I'm sorry, man. Like,
yeah, but he's got the pedigree where he can do it in a press conference too, and not just behind the scenes.
I know.
You know?
You're right.
Like,
you're right. Yeah.
He's not a rookie coach where he's got to lie about stuff and, you know, try and cover his ass. If he came out and said, I messed up, he shouldn't have been playing, he looked terrible, that's all me, you know, I ruined this guy's career. Yeah, he'd get some heat, but, like, he's still Nick Saban, and he could still be like, look at all the rings I've got, you know, like. Yeah. So I don't know, and that's why I don't respect Saban. I think he was grimy when he went to the Dolphins and screwed them over. I think Belichick is a little bit better in that sense, because, like, he won't even answer, like, he won't entertain the question, you know.
Right.
So at least I give him the benefit of the doubt. It's just like, he's never answered that question, you know. So maybe he does feel bad, but he's not going to tell you that. Whereas Saban is going to bullshit to you.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. And, like, both guys are untouchable, so
yeah,
both guys you can just openly say, like, hey, man, I made a mistake.
Yeah, it's just it sucks to see a college player, you know, go through that. An NBA and NFL guy who's made some money, you're like, all right, he could recover and be good. But when it happens to a college guy who, like, is really probably trying to just put it all out there on the line, and, like, you know how it is. You played more competitive sports than I do, but, like, you want to compete for your guys, you want to compete for the coach. So, and if you blow an opportunity to, like, make it to the professionals, it's got to be freaking, you know, just crushing.
Yeah.
Sticking on football, and, you know, we could have started with this one, but I had the hat on, so I wanted to start with the, you know, the Angels. But huge story was Colin Kaepernick, and we had been going back and forth on previous episodes talking about every single team out there that could have signed him. Every week there's a quarterback going down, and then there's a backup quarterback who's just working at Target or something like that, who's got this miraculous story of throwing paper towels down aisle 12, and there was a scout in the store at the time and signed him to the practice squad, and now he's the starting quarterback for the Chiefs or something like that. So we would always say Kaepernick deserved a chance, never did, and then just last week, randomly it comes out, there's news stories that he's going to have a workout on a Saturday, which is hard for coaches and teams to come to a day before a game day, so you're not going to get, like, executives and all this stuff. Long story short, he has his workout, not at the facility that the NFL scheduled. Looks pretty good from what I saw. All I keep seeing is just that deep ball, like 50-yard throw is the only video that everybody keeps resharing. But yeah, I mean, it looks like he could still throw the ball. He looks in phenomenal shape. He definitely has the credentials to be an NFL quarterback. What are your thoughts on the whole situation?
Yeah, I gotta say, like, I think he shot himself in the foot with this.
You think so?
Yeah, I think he was planning this the whole time on moving his location, and then you do it so little time in advance, an hour away.
Yeah, 6 yeah.
And you inconvenience everyone, like the Atlanta Falcons staff who were, like, preparing to video you.
Yeah.
And, like, employees that were there to make sure the venue was all good and ready. Like, and you got mad because they wouldn't allow just any kind of media. And it's like, well, it's a tryout, man. Like, any tryout, they don't allow just random ass media. Like, they don't want complex sports in there and shit. Sorry. Like, and then they agreed for Nike to film a commercial during it. It's like, dude, what are you really here for? So I do have an issue with, like, of course, I knew he was going to look good.
Yeah.
I knew he was going to look good. Also, he's not reading defenses.
Yeah.
So
it's the same thing as off-season NBA workout videos. Andre Drummond is cashing threes in a gym with nobody,
no
some
one around.
5'2" trainer guarding him with a hand up that's going to his waist. and he's cashing them. And then you fast forward to a freaking game and he's bricking them off the side of the backboard.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit different, and I know you can't really replicate that too much.
Yep.
Especially in an NFL season because most decent guys are signed. I get it.
Yep.
But the fact that 24 teams are going to go to this and, like, yeah, sure, may not be like a top high-level guy, but a scout's a scout. And if they're sending a guy there, and if they're paying that guy to be a scout, his word's got to have some pull in that organization. So I think it would have benefited him if he just stayed at that location.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on the fact that, and I'm not anybody to say, I don't like the decision of him moving it or something like that, because it's like he's his own person, whatever, But I think if something were to hurt him, it was that. And I agree with you that I think he had that planned. I don't think he was going to have the workout at that facility because a lot of the conversation was like, this guy's fighting for his rights and he's fighting for all these things, but yet the NFL is just dictating everything he's doing. So it's almost still just like he's a servant to the NFL, or it's just like, hey man, let's go. Saturday, you're here. And it's just like if he were to show up and just be himself and do all that stuff, it's just like you're just doing everything you were doing previously for the NFL, just being an employee and just doing everything that they're saying. Whereas he, I think, was going to, like you said, decided, I'm going to throw a curveball in at the last minute, get a couple extra headlines and this and that. And one point that I saw someone make on Twitter was like, you want to have all this media and everybody in there, but yet at the end, you take no questions and you just say like a 2-minute rehearsed, speech. So it's like, do you really want all the media there, or did you just want them there because you knew what you were going to say at the end, and that message was going to get out? Whereas again, I'm not anybody to critique him. He did it how he wanted to do it. But if you really want all the media there, let them ask you all these questions. Put it all out on the table. The NFL called me on Tuesday and they said you're going to play on Saturday. Like, let us know what happened, dude.
Yeah.
Like I read that you moved it 60 miles away because they couldn't let media members in and stuff like that. But like, you had the opportunity there because you switched sites and, you bashed the NFL a little bit to put it all on the table, And I thought it was gangster how he was almost like calling out the owners and stuff like that, where it's just like, make your own decisions, guys. Like, stop running, stop being cowards. And I just saw before we got on air, Andy Reid was like, he looked great, definitely deserved a chance or something like that, where before that workout, you didn't see anybody really even commenting on him. It was like people were nervous to even say his name. Whereas hopefully now he's starting to at least make people at the top feel like, like we're in power. We should be able to, make our own decision and not let the NFL dictate what the hell we're going to do. But I wish he just was more gangster about it and like just put it all out there on the table. Like had Sports Illustrated say like, walk us through exactly what happened. And like, I'm going to believe him if he says, NFL called me this day, said we're going to practice here. And I was like, Saturday? And they're like, yeah, Saturday. No, don't ask any questions about it.
But yeah, I know what you're saying, but it's like, do you want to play, or do you want this to continue to be about fighting the man? Either one is fine.
Yeah.
But if you want to play, you do the trial with 24 scouts and not 8 that you made a drive an hour away, which some of them were late.
Yeah,
He could have done this same exact tryout by himself with his agent set up in July.
Yeah.
At the same place. That's my only thing. Like, bro, the way the tryout sounds is you had your own personal team film it, YouTube live it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then your agent got that out to all the scouts like, hey, we're doing it at this location. Sounds like you could have just done that on your own 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, that's a good point too. I just don't get the whole NFL aspect of it. Like I don't get what their goal was of even reaching out and doing this, Like
It's random, but I think it's the Jay-Z deal.
Do you think he really had a imprint on that, and like he just pushed Goodell to be like, and Goodell was just like, okay, but it's gonna be on my thing. We'll do it Saturday. That's it. No more other questions. But your boy will get a workout.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much how it went.
But then now you saw after the fact there was articles that came out that said like supposedly Jay-Z was upset with how he went about it and like was mad that he changed the location. So like it's almost like he slapped Jay-Z in the face too because it was like, hey, I got you this, man, and he just flipped the script on it.
It's a slap in the face to everyone. Like,
Yeah.
even if you're a Falcons, what if a Falcons coach was there and you did that to all of his coworkers? You know what I'm saying? Like, people that probably might not be working on a Saturday,
Yeah.
and that stadium showed up to work that Saturday, and then you just like jerk them around. Like, it's little things like that.
No, that's a
I
great
don't know.
point. I mean, no, it's a great point because then it goes to show it's just like, all right, if I'm I don't know, I'll say the Bills, but they're fine with their quarterback, I feel like right now. But if I'm the Bills and I sign you, who's to say you don't just flip something up and completely don't show up for a game or something like that because you were pissed off with how we went about doing such and such to get you signed? Like you found out we called the league first and did some research. Are you not going to show up to a game because we did that,
Yeah, and like I was just watching Sunday Night Football before this, and they had a little mini in-game report on the outcome of this.
Yeah.
And they're like, nothing's gonna change.
Yeah.
Like sure he looked strong, sure he can throw the ball, but no one was surprised. Like, of course, this guy's just not gonna like not be an athlete a couple years later, But they were just like, it's just the way it went. It's not worth it for a lot of teams.
Yeah. I mean, such a tough situation because I personally think the guy should just clearly be playing. I think there's a lot of quarterbacks that he's better than. But then, I mean, like it comes to a point where, I mean, they're still an organization. They still have rules to abide by, So like everybody works at a job. Unless you own your own business, you can call the shots.
Yeah.
So, as much as you want to try and flip the script on the NFL and make your imprint on it and make players, powerful and all this stuff and make owners, really make their own decisions and not work for the NFL. Like, that's not what it is. They're owned by the owners. Like, you don't own the NFL. They've got Roger Goodell who runs the league. Unless you started like Colin Kaepernick's football, league or something like that, your own league, and you were the owner, you can make all the decisions. You gotta. Everyone works for someone, Like you go into your school every morning. You got a principal, superintendent, people you gotta listen to. You can't just go in there and be like, "Hey, f you, man." It's not how it works. Like,
dude, it's like 95% of the world has a person they have to listen to.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't like. That's my thing with it too. Like that's my thing with it. I do like. Obviously, I think he was blackballed. I think he was. I think he should be in the league. But I also think the same with Tebow is I think he was blackballed a little bit.
You think so? Tebow with the NFL?
I relate them a little bit because it's like who, like, all right, Tebow is very mediocre, right?
Yeah.
But who wants to hear this mediocre quarterback preach about religion nonstop and he brings a circus everywhere he goes, media-wise.
Yeah, I think what Tebow's thing was, and his biggest hater was this guy Merrill Hodge, and I fucking hated Merrill Hodge. Like, he would just bash him and bash him and bash him, and like the guy still, as bad as his numbers were, he still won some football games in the NFL, which is like a hard thing to do. Like
season he went to the playoffs. Right?
That's what I'm saying, and they beat the Steelers in the playoffs. Like they won a game in the playoffs. And Merrill Hodge is behind a freaking TV screen with makeup on with his tie knot that was bigger than his freaking neck. And he would just bash him. And but the only argument I have with Tebow is just like he wasn't a good quarterback. And like he didn't want to.
That was fairly obvious.
He didn't want to like he could have beaten a tight end or they could have moved him. And I mean, I guess the Saints have that guy now who's the backup who sort of just comes in and just truck sticks people.
The Bridgewater, right?
No. The other guy. He's like a tall white dude that just comes in and just straight, body. Like he literally shotgun formation, hike,
and just barrels through.
just barrels people. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. But so there was a role for Tebow, but I think Tebow specifically, like, he wasn't a great pocket quarterback. He couldn't throw the ball. So like, I feel like he was a little different. But I agree with you on there. There was the circus and a lot more, that came with him than maybe just signing like a Matt Moore or something like that.
Yeah.
But quickly speaking on that, and I didn't mention to you this before him, but I'm so happy that Carmelo's back in the league. It just feels right.
Yeah, it's definitely not how his career should have ended.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with him, and I think that's a good fit for him.
Yeah, I think it's a good situation because Portland's not doing well right now, and if they continue to not do well, it's almost just like you weren't doing well before Melo was there. If they do well, which they have a great team, Melo looks great. He could put up 12 points a game, and then he'll look like he's taking a reserve role. So I know Melo from when I worked at the Knicks and just know that he's a good dude. So I was happy to hear that he's back in the league. And it almost just like you see these Instagram posts of like Kobe Bryant dunking over Dwight Howard, and it's like this happened 15 years ago, and it makes you feel so old.
Yeah.
I just like that Melo's still in the league. It just has that like nostalgia to it. It's just like makes you feel like the NBA still has a piece of like that old school basketball, and it's not just like Kuzma and Trae Young and all these young cats that like to me don't embody like just like old school basketball.
That's fair, and like he does deserve some shine. So it's like he won't take any heat, like you said, if they lose.
Yeah,
I like to see him do well. Like he didn't deserve to get written off like that.
No,
so.
No. I hope he does well. But then on the flip side of that, we'll get to your boy LeBron, who is a freaking bozo, and I want to talk about his dunk in 1 second, but D Wade tweeted out when Carmelo got signed, like, it's about time, blah, 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 this and that. And then LeBron, like, retweeted that and just put, like, right with exclamation points next to it. And I was like, such a LeBron tweet. Like, it's like, you had the freaking opportunity to bring Melo onto your team. He's your boy. He's still a good player. And, like, don't jump on board with like, he was, blacklisted from the league. Like, right? No one's signing him. Because you could have signed him. And that's just why people hate LeBron James, because he does that type of shit. He's got the power to sign a guy, and then after the fact, he'll be like, damn, man, why did anybody not sign him? And it's like, stop, LeBron.
That actually gives me hope that maybe he doesn't have power with the Lakers organization. You know what I'm saying?
You think so?
Probably not.
Yeah, that guy runs the Lakers,
think, like,
man.
They were just like, no, we're not taking LeBron. They stopped him right at the door. He knocked on the door to talk to Jeannie Buss. She's like, not today. Sorry.
Man, that guy could tell Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, that he wants the freaking cotton candy vendor who works in section 240 to start at power forward, and that cotton candy vendor will be starting at power forward the next night. No tryout, no workout, nothing. He'd be signed to Clutch Sports, and he'd have a uniform, and he'd be playing the next night. LeBron does whatever he wants in LA. Caldwell Pope is still freaking on the team. It's because he's signed to LeBron's agency. That guy couldn't make a jump shot if he was playing on a freaking Fisher-Price hoop or whatever like that. That guy is so garbage.
No, I think he has to be on the team for like his parole or something.
There's something like I didn't hear what he did, but like he did something really bad in Georgia, and then like he couldn't like leave the state for a year or something. But he was like under contract.
So it was like 2 years ago. He got a DWI, which I guess it was a really bad one, or maybe like his second or third one. I don't know, but he had to serve jail time. So whenever they would release him from jail, whenever he had a game.
Oh my God! Yeah, I did. Yeah. Oh.
So, but then they put him back in jail. This was only 2 years ago. This is a story that like you talk about, and you're like, when this happened? 1962? Like
it was a couple years ago, right?
This happened like 2017.
I remember like hearing something about that.
Call him up. Yo, we got a game tomorrow, man. We'll pick you up. The team bus will stop by. We'll pick you up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Crazy underrated story.
that guy, I legit don't know. I mean, like, I guess the other night he had a decent fourth quarter or something, scored like 12 points, but like, he's got like easy layups, and the ball will get like wedged in between the hoop, and like the team's laughing at him on the bench. He's like bricks shots really badly. He goes stretches where he's just like 0 for 34, like in multiple games, and there's just no talk of like, why is this guy still getting burned?
I don't think he has any friends on the team either. Like, just looking at him, I'm just like, I think he's just like a lone wolf that's like, man, I don't know why I'm still here. You know, like he's like the last kid picked every time you do 5-on-5 runs.
I don't get how he's on the team. Like, he must. I said this about Steve Mills and, not really Scott Perry because he could probably get fired, but Steve Mills definitely has some weird tapes on James Dolan as to why he can never get fired. Contavious Caldwell Pope, or whatever the hell his name is, the most weird name anyway, definitely has some dirt on Jeannie Buss, or has some dirt on LeBron. Like, there's guys in prison that told like LeBron stories or something to Pope, and he uses that against LeBron to never get cut from his agency or his teams, because I don't know why he's on the team.
Tax write-off. Like, if it's government, you know what I'm saying? Like, that could be a tax write-off where like he's not counted against the salary.
LeBron doesn't pay taxes because Pope's on the team still? That would be amazing if some story came out.
Well, like the Lakers in general, like that probably Jeannie Buss could write that off probably. Like,
maybe. But
that's something to think about there.
That's a good conspiracy, and I'm the conspiracy man. I'll give you that one. I think there's some smoke there to LeBron not paying LA taxes because Caldwell Pope is still on the team.
Well, it's like, dude, even like, when he was in jail and he would come to play, I'm like, why'd you let him out of jail to do this? Like, just be like one time, just be like, all right, just stay, serve your time, man. Get this over with. Like, we don't need you for this game right now. Like,
yeah, that's a weird one, man. That's a weird one. It's like an unwritten story in the NBA that no one really talks about.
Oh, It's very underrated. I love it, though.
If I'm Stephen A. Smith, that's the first thing I'm saying every time I get in the air. Every time the Lakers lose, I'm like, well, this guy's still on your team. That's why you've lost. Every single night. It's not, if LeBron can go 0 for 50 in the game, I'm like, Caldwell Pope is still on your team. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But I digress there. But I do want to talk about the dunk that LeBron had against that dude on the Kings. It was just like, I watched that dunk, I think, like 50 times. And if you haven't seen it, go to Twitter and just type in like LeBron dunk. It's crazy, man. Like, he took off from the dotted line in between the free throw line and the baseline and just cocks it back and just bangs it on this dude. And it's just like, it's unreal. And people talk about his age, but I don't really get caught up in like, I think he's like 35.
Yeah.
35 to me is still not that old.
No.
But on the flip side of that, I'm 31 and like my back hurts and stuff like that. But someone did tell me that he pays like $1 million a year or something on like to like take care of his body.
On his body, yeah.
But that dunk was just absurd. Like, it was crazy. Like, I've seen dunks and people dunk on people all the time every night in the NBA. But for some reason that one was just, it was so powerful and it was so just like it was just pretty. It was just like a piece of art. Like, the way he turns the corner and then just cocks it back, I was impressed.
It hit different. It made me want to like him. I thought for a second, I was like, man, could I do this? And I was like, watched it again. I was like, it's a good dunk. He's really good at basketball. It's like, fuck him, though.
Yeah. I thought the same thing. I mean, like, he did everything right. He stared the dude down the right amount. He flexed on him a little bit. And I look to the bench because, like, obviously all the players are going to go crazy. But I'm always looking, like, I look at Jason Kidd because he's like my status bar or whatever, because that guy is just the most calm, cool, collected guy. And he still was just sitting there like. But, like, that he wanted to, like, wall out because that was impressive, man. LeBron, that was a nice one. It reminded me of, he had a nice one against Portland a couple years back. You remember that one?
Yeah.
And then, like, the next night, I think he banged on someone on Brooklyn or something like that. Like, he had back-to-back nights where he banged it on like 2 guys. And the one the other night was that was a nice one. So I give him props. And then I was gonna mention to you that like Brady's still going strong. They beat the Eagles today, and they had a couple tweets going back and forth. Like it was sort of corny. It was super corny. It was just like LeBron was like, "I'm gonna keep throwing footballs until I can't," and then Tom Brady was like, "I'm gonna keep shooting basketballs or something until I can't." And I was just like, What are you guys even saying? It's not even
like,
witty.
guys, just get off Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, we don't, like, we're fine watching you every Sunday. We're fine watching you play a couple times a week. Just get off Twitter.
Yeah.
Hear you like praise each other.
The tweets were dumb. It made no. It just was stupid. It wasn't funny. It wasn't anything. So like, yeah, we get it. You both are both great. Just text each other. We don't need to see you on Twitter like going back and forth with some stupid bullshit. Like we know, like LeBron, I saw the dunk. Okay, Tom Brady, I see you win every single week.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah, don't throw an extra tweet in there. That's corny. Okay.
Yeah.
Last thing I wanted to ask you about, and I have Astro stealing signs in here, but that one we could talk about maybe next week because that sort of will live on forever because every week it comes out that like they're doing something differently. They're like playing drums in their freaking dugout, doing everything. But the last thing I want to ask you about was the Myles Garrett suspension. And I'm torn on this one, so I'm curious to see first your reaction to that whole fight thing. Were you watching it live, and then the outcry of like what happened?
So I woke up because I ain't ever making the ending of a game like that ever.
Yeah,
any game really on a Monday night like that.
Browns,
what was
whoever,
it,
Thursday night? Yeah, this past Thursday.
Like, no, it's not happening. But I woke up, I saw that, I was like, holy shit! Like, hit him with the helmet.
Yep.
The suspension came fairly quick. I was cool with it. Like the rest of the season is all good. I don't think he needs to be suspended like indefinitely till next year too. I don't think so. I think just this season, including the playoffs, if you could smack a guy in the face with a helmet.
So here's my thing. I think a lot of people over-exaggerated like crazy with that shit. And granted, yes, he hit the dude with the helmet and he swung at him or whatnot. But every other sport, hockey, these dudes are straight going at each other. Like, you could wail a dude in the face until he falls, and that's acceptable. You could, undercut somebody on a hockey rink and, like, they just go completely flying. Totally acceptable. Baseball, you could throw a 101-mile-per-hour fastball at a dude's head, and all you might get is a warning.
Yeah.
Or an ejection. You could charge the mound. You could straight beat a dude. You could put him in a headlock. NFL, these dudes are hitting each other on the field for a living. That's what they're doing. The dude got his helmet ripped off. He tried to rip his helmet off. And, like, he swung at him with it.
Yeah.
It's yes, it was bad that he swung at him with a helmet. That's a bad move. But we're watching football because these dudes are beating the shit out of each other. And it's like, we always make fun of people when they when a dude punches someone with a helmet on. So we should be praising a dude for hitting a dude with the helmet. So I don't know.
Did it the right way.
Yeah, it just rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, obviously, like, you don't want to see a guy hit somebody with a helmet. That's a bad move. But like, Schefter's like assault, period, as his tweet. Like,
that tweet was insane. like, if I just wake up to that tweet, I'm thinking the worst of the worst.
Yeah, like he's like playing with like, packing, and then he pulls out and like everybody's flipping out and going crazy, and the guys should be done forever and then like never play football again. And are you kidding me? Like, worst fight since the melee at the Palace and all this. I'm like, stop it, man. Stop it. It wasn't that bad. No,
it wasn't. Yeah, and a lot of people did compare it to that one hockey incident where they slashed the guy's face with a skate. It's like, dude, that's psychotic shit. Like,
yeah.
This guy has some anger issues because he was swinging at a few other teams earlier this season.
Was he? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think like a few incidents, but you could always just lead to like someone's probably holding his helmet. That's annoying. I fucking swing at someone too.
Yep.
So I just think it's kind of like all of it was unnecessary in terms of if you're just talking like they're playing the game of football, it's all very unnecessary. You didn't have to hold them on the ground like that.
Yeah.
Like you were winning the game was over,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
And you held him on the ground, and then you just like jerk his face, and then
Yeah.
he's just trying to get up and trying to like protect himself a little bit,
Mhm.
like show some of his manliness side or whatever,
Yeah.
like. And I just thought it was so funny when he got hit. He just pretty much stopped fighting. He's like, "Can someone help me out here?"
I know. The referee like backs up. The referee like doesn't even do anything.
Yeah, even his old line were like, "This guy's crazy. I can't like
Yeah.
this guy's swinging a helmet." That's my only thing is like the helmet when they showed it in slow mo.
Yeah.
I don't know how that didn't knock him out.
I don't know. He got him good with it. Like he
Yo,
got him.
like
Like the
head
crown of the
on.
helmet.
Like,
Yeah.
that's why I was even thinking like a couple of days after the fact. I'm like, oh, yo, they might like say he's out next week because of a concussion or something. Like,
Yeah. Barstool had a funny tweet that like, did you see that it showed his head was like contorted from like
oh
the
yeah, yeah,
Snapchat at, and it was like,
yeah. But it's like, dude, it was slow motion. He pretty much had his head there and just
yeah,
it's like,
man,
oh no, he got him.
he
But,
got him good, and like. I can't imagine. It's probably not easy to swing a helmet like that. Like you don't really have control of where it's gonna go. But like he wound it up and like conked him. Like he had good control over the helmet. You know.
yeah, usually like I feel like when you have an object like that, right? You're always gonna miss. You're always gonna skip
Yeah.
someone,
Yeah.
which is probably best if
Direct
no
hit,
one wants
man.
to see anyone die. But he didn't skim anything. He
And-
just clocked him. The fact that he was still standing after that, I would have dropped dead. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah. And you know, it was almost a little worse too, because then right after that moment, he's like standing in the end zone, and like one of the old linemen just or like comes up and just straight like pushes him over. It just like flings him, and he just straight flopped over. I was like, that looked bad too. Like,
Yeah, that was really bad too. Like, did you not just see what your teammate did to him? Like, leave him alone. He stopped fighting. Like,
he didn't have a good night, that guy. But yeah, some of the reaction was like a little like, come on, like
traumatic.
pressing charges, like
I know. They're still thinking about that, which I'm like, man, look at the sport you play.
yeah, like just drop the pressing charges stuff. Like
yeah, that whole game is like
I know,
one big charge. It's one big assault charge.
yeah, like come on. So that's where I was at on that. It was just like a lot of other sports fight that don't really get as much grief as that one was getting. You know, some of these guys were overreacting, and it's just like an overreaction thing where it's like if everybody goes crazy, the NFL is going to have to react some type of way where they can't come down with a light decision anymore, because the backlash is going to be crazy. Just because like right away people just want to attack somebody, and granted, what he did was bad, but like. He's now an enemy of everybody because he did something that was deemed sort of bad, you know?
Yeah. It's not a great position for the NFL to be in. They're going to probably have to keep the regular season and postseason suspension, just because if the Browns get in, you suspend them for the regular season. Like, oh no, this guy could play. It's like that's going to cause chaos and mayhem.
Oh yeah, it'd be ugly.
It's like probably not worth it. It's nothing that they can really argue too much. It's like, my man, do you realize what you did? Like,
that was a strange one. I don't have too much more. I just want to say that the Knicks are 2-0 against Kristaps Porzingis. Shout out to my Knicks, but then they lose to the freaking Charlotte Hornets the next night. So they always suck. Anything else you want to touch upon?
No. I've been watching the Knicks a little bit.
So. Yeah, they're just. I mean, like you can't win on TNT national TV game and then lose the next night to the freaking Hornets, man. Like have a 20-point lead and then lose it. Fizdale's got to go, in my opinion. But ask questions. I know we probably have some questions. That we'll get to them next week. We had a lot of topics this week. But put a lot of questions down in the chat below. If you're new to Sports Buffet, that's what we got going on. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I have this hat, and I didn't do this early enough, but I wanted to honorably mention our New York Jets.
Oh, wow.
Although I was upset that they beat the Giants, that was just the worst victory. It was such a Jetsy victory. We played the Redskins today and a rookie quarterback, so it's like you can't really judge what the Jets are right now. This is what we do every season. I feel like
man.
we'll end the season with like 6 wins. We'll be excited. Gase is obviously going to keep his job because the owner said that he will. We'll go into the offseason thinking we're good, and the next season we'll suck again. So it's like
JETS.
that's the life of a Jets fan. Ask questions. Let us know what you think. Thank you for listening. Quiet Giant, Matt, thank you as always. And we will see you guys next week. Next week will be like a little Thanksgiving special. I guess that's the week of Thanksgiving next week, right?
Yeah.
All right, that's what's up. So ask Thanksgiving questions, whatever that means. All right, everybody. Peace out.